Okay, welcome to That's Controversial. Every week we bring you controversial world news, entertainment news. My name is Swami Varadin. I got Richard Ayub from RumorFix.com. How are you doing, Richard?
Good, Swami. How are you? I'm ready to go.
And why don't you first of all tell everyone what RumorFix.com is?
RumorFix.com is the anti-tabloid website that sets the record straight on celebrity rumors. Everything gets a label. If it's true, we call it true. If it's still a rumor, that's the label it gets. And if it needs a rumor fix, we fix it, and we say rumor fixed.
And let's tell everyone what the rules are of this show. Every topic we talk about has 2 minutes total. And then you will hear a ring from Lowell Tuckerman, our producer. And then we go on to the next topic. Are you ready to start, Richard Ayub?
Yes, I am.
Rumor Fix has a rumor that Justin Bieber turned 19 years old and he was walking around with his shirt off. Is that true?
Why is that a rumor? That is absolutely true. Yes, Justin turned 19. He's no longer a kid. He is an adult, and he gets to do things the way he wants to do them. So he can have 27 tattoos all over his body if he'd like, and he can take off his shirt, let his pants fall nearly to the ground, and show his buns or whatever. I think he absolutely looks ridiculous, but I think he also looks ripped. There's something that happened to him like virtually overnight. He went from looking like a lesbian, which he actually kidded about on Saturday Night Live, to looking like a guy who has six-pack abs.
I actually have to disagree with you. I actually think he looks really good. I was actually surprised by his looks. He does look like a young adult. He is a young adult, but it's weird. Like, I just remember yesterday seeing him as a little kid, now at 19 years old, ripped abs. I saw him and I said, wow, what a good-looking guy. So good for Justin Bieber, and he's grown up in front of your eyes.
He really has. And, you know, there's some things that he's doing that's making people kind of stand up and take notice and say, is he just going through regular growing pains, or is he going in a bad path? You know, like when he had his 19th birthday party, he tweeted, worst party, worst birthday ever. He had this big Cirque du Soleil night in London, and security had to break it up, and I think the party had to end early, and so he had a little bit of a hissy fit about it. But you know what? He's a kid. 19 is still very, very young.
Good for him, and we'll see what happens when he gets facial hair. He hasn't had it yet.
Yeah, he has no facial hair. Time's up. Okay, ready to go to the next one.
Chris Brown and Drake are both sued. Richard Ayub, is that true? Rumor Fix is reporting something.
It is true. You may remember in June at this nightclub called WIP in New York, Chris Brown and Drake were there with their posses. Now, at one point, these guys each have dated Rihanna. And Chris Brown is apparently with Rihanna again right now, even though 3 years ago he beat her up and gave her a black eye and is still on probation for that incident. But Drake and Chris Brown were at the same place at the same time, and there's a story, and it still has never been confirmed whether Chris and Drake were involved in the fight, but their posses were. And in the middle of it all, there was a lot of collateral damage. Not only was the place just ripped apart, a lot of people were injured. So 2 girls have filed lawsuits against both of those guys and against the nightclub. And one of the things that these girls are saying is they got some cosmetic deformities and scarring. And so they are suing for medical costs and also emotional costs as well.
You know, I have to say I do agree with the girls to a certain extent. I don't think they're lying because Tony Parker, remember Eva Longoria's ex, who plays for the Spurs, he also had glass shattered on him, I believe. And he also sued, I believe, the nightclub. Now, can you sue Chris Brown and Drake? I don't think you should be able to sue them. They didn't throw anything. Honestly, the person you should sue is Rihanna. She's the one who's causing all this drama. It's not Chris Brown and Drake. Sue her. If you want to sue anyone, sue her. And also sue the club. I mean, this club should have had the altercation subdued quickly and effectively, but they didn't.
Yeah, they are suing the club, and they are claiming that Chris Brown is a known hothead, and that he is and should be held responsible.
All right, let's go to hotheads to some other heads, some good-looking heads and really well-behaved heads.
Eric Hough and Julianne Hough.
Hough, the Houghs, are they having a new show? Is that what Rumor Fix is reporting?
Yes. Derek and Julianne Hough, as you know, Derek Hough is one of the professional dancers on Dancing with the Stars. Julianne used to be on the show and is now a movie star. She was in Rock of Ages and recently did Safe Haven with Josh Duhamel. And more than anything, this is what you care about, Swami, is she's dating Ryan Seacrest. So these two are the best-looking brother and sister team that we've seen in a long time since Warren Beatty and Shirley MacLaine. No, I'm kidding. But in any event, these two love being together, and they love working together. So they put together a TV show that's about politics, scandal, love, sex triangles, things like that. And guess what it's about?
What's it about? Please tell me.
Ballroom dancing.
And is this a reality show or is this a scripted show?
It's a scripted show. And so what they're going to do, it focuses on competitive ballroom dancing at the world championship level. So they're going to share some of their own shocking stories, and they're also going to be choreographers and executive producers.
I'm very impressed with them, actually. Very impressed, Richard, because very few of these reality stars start their own companies and start their own other TV shows. So good for them. Yeah,
and it's going to be interesting to see if they make a successful transition, because that's kind of a big leap from being a professional dancer to being a producer or creator of the show.
Speaking of creators, let's talk about a creator. I would consider him one of the biggest creators of entertainment blogs, Perez Hilton. Rumor Fix is reporting that he's a dad now. Is that true?
Absolutely. Perez Hilton, I've known him for many, many years. In fact, I knew him when his name was Mario. And I would say I remember, Swami, you and I used to go to Crunch together, and I remember one time after working out at Crunch, I ran into him, and we were having this long conversation. And at the time, his blog was called Page 666. Of course, it's been changed to Perez Hilton, and it was kind of a spoof on Page 6 from the New York Post. But he got sued and could not use that name anymore. And then what happened is he had gone to nightclubs after nightclubs, and as he was leaving a nightclub, people would tell him, "Don't leave, Perez Hilton is coming." And every single nightclub in L.A. was claiming the same thing, and Perez Hilton never came. One day he said, I bet Perez Hilton isn't coming. Maybe Perez Hilton is. And so he got that name himself, Perez Hilton, which he made up. So at the time when I met him outside of Crunch and we were chatting, he said he wanted to be a daddy someday. And lo and behold, he is. And he also said he wanted multiple kids. And I asked him, well, do you want to wait till you get a partner? He goes, no, I'm not going to wait for that. And so I know he's living his dream, and I couldn't be happier for him.
I'm very happy for him for a couple of reasons. One, he does what he wants to do. And two, he completely changed. Remember a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, he was considered a bully amongst entertainment people for, drawing penises on faces and using the C word and the B word. He said he's going to change, and he changed. So good job, Perez Hilton, for changing for the better. Let's go to other news. Taco Bell has horse meat. Richard Ayub. Taco Bell said Friday that it has taken beef off the menu in its 3 UK outlets after tests on ground beef from a European supplier revealed traces of horse meat. Now, horse meat is not good for you.
Why isn't it? This is what I'm curious about. Why can we eat a cow but we can't eat a horse? What's wrong with horse meat?
All meat's bad for you, in my opinion. I'm a vegetarian, and I got to tell you, meat itself is not, and I know the non-vegetarians are going to listen to this and say, oh, here we go again. Another vegetarian/vegan is going to be lecturing about how bad meat is. Meat's not good for you. It causes global warming. It's not good for you. You shouldn't be eating meat. Plus,
but why is horse meat less good for you than cow meat? That's my question. And this whole thing made me think about that. I've never thought about horse meat. The notion of it kind of grosses me out because you think of horses being graceful and galloping and everything else. But why can we have a chicken, a turkey, a cow, and lamb, but we can't have a horse?
That's a good question. You know what? You stumped me on that. I've been looking for information and doing some research on why horse meat is not good, and I have no answer for you. I don't know. I don't even know if they know. I have no idea, but the question arises, Richard. Are you still going to eat at Taco Bell now?
You know what? Taco Bell is one of my guilty pleasures. I don't do a lot of fast food, but if I do fast food, I love the bean burritos at Taco Bell, and I also love the tacos. I also love Wiener Schnitzel hot dogs, chili cheese hot dogs there. So those are the guilty pleasures. I probably will lay off Taco Bell. I haven't been there in about a year, so it's not going to be that hard to do.
Good job. Well, we will root for you when you lay off that Taco Bell and get in shape. Good for you. Let's turn subjects real quick, and let's go to politics. Barack Obama, our president, he's talking about Prop 8, and he says that the gay marriage ban unconstitutional in Prop 8. And it's going to reflect on, March 28th, I believe?
It's going to go to the Supreme Court? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, March 28th.
Yes. So President Obama is appealing to the Supreme Court to strike down California's ban on same-sex marriages, saying it's unconstitutional. And, a lot of people argue that it is a civil rights issue, that we're talking about equality. And, the problem is it's the word marriage. Marriage is a legal word, and it's also a religious word. And so that's what's confusing everyone in this country. But I saw recently a poll was done between the time Prop 8 first came out, which was, when was that, Swami? Was that 2009?
That's right.
So in 2009, when Prop 8 came out, the majority of Californians were for Prop 8. That's why it passed. And now 2/3 are against it. The population has changed. I think there's been some education. I think that people were a little confused at the time, and I think more people have come out, which always helps the acceptance level. And you have a president who is saying this is unconstitutional and that everyone should be created equal, and civil marriages are not equal to, or civil unions are not equal to marriages.
So props to Barack Obama for spreading awareness on civil rights and gay rights. Good for him. Speaking of politics, Hillary Clinton, the ex-Secretary of State, the ex-First Lady, the ex-Senator, and maybe future president, is in talks for a memoir. Richard A., what's your thoughts on Hillary Clinton writing a all-you-know memoir for the last few years?
Well, you know what? I think it's going to – I don't read a lot of books. I read magazines like People Magazine and Us Weekly. I need to see a lot of pictures, and I need to see them in color, and I need to see some celebrities. But in my world, Hillary Clinton is a celebrity, and this will be a fascinating book. And I hear that her advance is going to be one of the highest advances that we've seen, and it's going to be in the millions. So they're estimating it's going to be somewhere from $5 million to $14 million. And, it's probably going to be more like $6 million is what people are saying. But Bill Clinton, I think he got $15 million for his book, My Life, in 2004.
Right.
So it really depends on how many secrets and what Hillary's going to say.
I think it's going to be a good book. I'm looking forward to the book. But at the same token, I have to be, aware and let Hillary Clinton know that she has to be careful of what she says. Remember, she might be running in 2016. That's only 3 years away. So let's be realistic. That might be only 2 years away when she starts fundraising. You have to be careful of what you say in this book. In her last two books, she didn't deal with Syria. She didn't deal with Iran. And she didn't deal with President Barack Obama. So good luck with the book. I can't wait to read it. I hope there's some juicy material in there. But at the same token, I have to be very aware of it might not be the all tell-all book as we might anticipate.
Yeah, I think that's going to be difficult for her to do, absolutely. But it's going to be fascinating.
Yahoo employees must work from home, says Marissa Mayer, the CEO of Yahoo, Richard, has said starting this summer, every employee has to work from home. What's your thoughts on...
No, they can't work from home.
They can work from home. That's right. They have to work in the office. What's your thoughts on that rule?
Well, when you're one of these .coms, whether it's Google, Facebook, Yahoo, one of the things that makes you attractive, there are several things that make you attractive. One, your digital media, and it's a growing area. Two, it's a hip, wonderful environment. And three, it has some cool things. They give you iPhones, or they let you play pool at work, or you get stock options, or whatever it is. So one of the perks that some of these Yahoo employees had is that they could work from home. Now she's looking at this and saying, this isn't working anymore. We need people to work side by side, in the terminology of text messaging, it's F to F, which means face to face. And so people need to interact. And it's kind of interesting that an online company is making people come together so they can talk to each other instead of just email, text message, and IM each other. It's kind of interesting trend that's happening in the world where there's a backlash of too much technology and we're forgetting how to communicate with each other.
I think it's a brilliant move, and I'll tell you why. Creativity is not amongst one person. Creativity involves a bunch of people together. The best ideas I come up with, and you and I are in the creative field, is when I talk to people and meet up with people. This reminds me of Pixar, a company Steve Jobs discovered and was head of. Pixar only has one male bathroom, one female bathroom, Richard. It's on the main floor, and he did that, Steve Jobs said, so people get meet with each other and communicate and then become more creative that way. So good job for Marissa Mayer for doing that. In other technology news, Groupon. Richard, do you use Groupon still?
You know what? Groupon was the first, in my opinion. I'm not sure whether it was, but it was the first exposure I had to these online coupons and the online deals. And then the market got saturated. You got Living Social, and I think, Travelzoo does some stuff. And I just get bombarded with emails with all these different deals that just Groupon used to have. And I love it. I've used some of these Groupon deals. I had a fantastic, I think it was a 4 or 5 course meal at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills the day before Valentine's Day, because they wouldn't let me use it on Valentine's Day, but it was okay because we still celebrated Valentine's Day. And it was a phenomenal deal, and the food was great. Everything was great. And I also got a deal where I got a facial and a massage for like $150 at a different location. So there are really great deals to be had. I think the market is saturated, and I think the big story that you're talking about is that the CEO is being given a severance check for $376.36.
That's right. He got fired because the stock's way down. I mean, it's extremely down. I don't think people are using as much Groupon as they used to, and I'll tell you why. When I go on Facebook, everything was a Groupon deal. All my friends were like, hey, we got a new Groupon deal. Check out this Groupon deal. Nobody cares anymore. People don't care about the groups. They care about their own deals. and they're focused on what they can spend money on. People are budgeting now. Before you go to Groupon and say, you know what, I don't really need a massage, but it sounds really good because it's much cheaper. Now people are saying, you know what, I need to save my money and be more frugal. But don't worry about Andrew Mason. He leaves with $212 million worth of Groupon shares. So good for him. Now, last but not least, we're going to end this show with our producer, our main man, Mr. Lowell Tuckerman. Richard, Lowell has a surprise question for both of us. Lowell, go for it.
All right, no time
First of all, I thought your name was Lloyd.
Hey, you know what? I've heard worse, so I will give you a pass. All right, Richard and Swami, big news in the movie world this week. I don't know if you guys have seen Zero Dark 30. It was a movie I was real passionate about, and I saw it the first day it came out. I told Swami this. My dad lost his high school friend in the 9/11 attacks, and obviously that reason, and being an American is one reason why it just adds to the horror and the nightmares I still get about 9/11. Now, if you haven't seen Zero Dark 30, the first 15, 20 seconds or so of the movie, it plays a compilation of some of the victims' last phone calls and last messages left to their family and friends. And Zero Dark 30, without the permission of these families, played these voicemails and these calls in the movies. And some of the family members are outraged, and the movie put out a statement saying, oh, well, we contacted some of the family members, but that's not the same thing as getting their permission. So, Richard Ayub, how out of bounds is this by Zero Dark 30 by using these calls and messages without getting the family's permission?
Well, I think that's extremely insensitive. This is a very sensitive topic among all Americans, and we all remember 9/11, and we all remember the horror we felt, and this country lost its innocence that day, and so anything associated with that incident is still very sensitive to us all. So for this movie to use these calls without permission, I think, is horrible. I definitely believe in freedom of speech and freedom of press, but these are conversations that were private, and I really am not. I'm a little horrified to hear this. Actually, it's the first time I've heard this.
Yeah, all things aside, well, that thing aside, I thought it was a great movie, but boy, did they make a mistake on that or what? And, for Richard, from a legal standpoint, do you think these family members, do they have some litigious support in this?
Well, we have a right to privacy as all Americans. And first of all, recordings cannot be made in several states unless you have two-party consent. So I don't know how they got a hold of these recordings, especially if they didn't get permission from the actual people. So if these are recordings, so these are just recordings of the people who passed away, and they passed away, so of course they're not getting the permission. It's interesting. They may not have an argument. It's just an insensitivity situation.
Gotcha,
because the people are dead who are in the recordings.
Right.
I would honestly I told Lowell earlier, Richard, I would honestly start crying if I went to the movie theaters. You're already probably traumatized because your relative, family member, friend has died in September 11th. And you're there, and you're ready to watch a movie. You got your popcorn, you got your soda, ready to go. And then all of a sudden you hear their voice. It would traumatize me even more. I would see more therapy. It's just so absolutely unprofessional.
Well, how did that play in the movie theater? I didn't see the movie.
I'll be honest with you. Just from, watching it first night, the premiere, it was one of those where it wasn't, it was one of those, if you're not awake now, then nothing will wake you up, because it was the ultimate, like, in-your-face beginning of the movie. It's like once you heard those sound bites, because it opens up black screen, September 11, 2001, in white letters, and it's all cockpit voice recordings. It's all voicemails left from the people who died in the buildings or died on the plane, and then the actual film and visual part of the movie starts. It was a very powerful beginning. Listening to it when I was at the movie theater, I thought, wow, this is a great opening. That really captures everything we felt. And then now, it's like, okay, now we know what to expect in this movie. But little did I know, did the movie not ask the family members. I thought for sure this was either public domain or they had consulted with the family members. But now learning that, like we did this week, it made me respect the movie less.
And I'm glad now. Now I don't feel bad anymore that Catherine, Bigelow? What's her name? Didn't get a Best Director nomination at the Oscars.
Because shame on her.
Shame on her and shame on the movie. But anyway, that's controversial. Another week has ended. Richard A.U., my name is Swami. We got Lowell here as our producer. We'll be back with you guys next week with the best news of the week. Thank you, guys.